Trump
Really interesting.
is one of the most effective politicians, whatever you think of the policy and him as a person, just as a politician, just understanding that always lean in to being more who you are. The people are not savvy about issues, but they smell a phony a mile away.
But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credential. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town.
Finally, the video you've all been waiting for. Bill Maher admits Donald Trump is the alpha and even expresses admiration for him. Now, Maher has long been one of Trump's fiercest critics, and yes, he voted for Kamala Harris. So for him to make such bold statements, that says a lot. And he didn't stop there. Maher went after Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and even Joe Biden, all in one go. There's a lot to break down, so let's dive right in. But first, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more fiery videos like this.
They're like an animal. They're instinctive. Like, I smell fear or I smell alpha. And they smell alpha. And Democrats have to come up with an alpha. And it's not Tim Walz.
No, probably not.
And it's not the other Tim who ran.
King?
Tim King. These are not alphas. It's like this thing of like, let's get a woman and then a docile man who's in every commercial where he's the asshole while mom takes care of business. You know, that's not a message that makes the tribe go, who is strong? Who's strong? Who's strong? Tim Walz. No. Oh, give me a rock. I need to kill myself because Tim Walz. You know, that you gotta appeal to people at a sort of post-civilization stage where we're kind of at on a primal level. You just do.
That's exactly what I've been saying for months now. No one on the left can go toe-to-toe with Trump. Not Kamala Harris, not Gavin Newsom, and certainly not Tim Walz. Let's be clear, this isn't about claiming Trump is perfect. He's not. But at the very least, he represents a return to common sense. A grounded, unapologetic force that could actually restore America to its former glory. What we don't need is another weak manufactured male figure, someone who fumbles through speeches, lacks conviction, and spends more time nodding along to handlers than leading with strength. America needs a leader, not a puppet, and the last thing this country should settle for is a hollow figurehead who's constantly being micromanaged by overbearing political operatives. We've already seen where that road leads: decline, division, and dysfunction. It's time we demand better.
And Trump does it better than anybody.
Trump does. And he started with a rejection principle. What took him from being a joke to being a messenger was two things. One that was really missed in the media, and I was just fortunate to be covering the rallies, so I saw it sooner. We forgot how powerful celebrity is in the American psyche, and that Trump being a TV star, see, I never saw him as a TV star because I've just known him my whole life.
Not just a TV star, but one who played a boss.
Yes. And that apprentice is really everybody wanted to be him. Now, maybe not certain aspects of his personality, but the money, the power, the agency. So they missed that. But when he really turned was, I know who you hate and I know what you hate because they all come to me and I hate them too. And I will make them pay. Yeah. The idea that Trump was ever selling himself as a cure is bullshit. He was selling himself as a virus.
You've all been waiting for this one. Bill Maher just admitted that Donald Trump is the alpha and even expressed admiration for him. That's right. Maher, who spent years relentlessly criticizing Trump and yes, voted for Kamala Harris, is now calling it like it is. And he didn't stop there. He tore into Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and even Joe Biden, all in one segment. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's dive in. But first, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos like this one.
I totally understand their hate. A lot of what they hate, I hate too.
Yeah, I get it.
But I just won't go, but I also have a rational mind.
Yes.
So I don't go all the way to then this is, because it is worse to me.
Right.
Well, you know, if you don't really believe in the secession of power, if you don't really believe in the emergency of climate change, I can't get on board with you. But yeah, the political instincts, just the connection with people. I mean, people are always saying, I'm saying, it's my editorial this Friday about Republicans being North Korean with their leader, but why? The reason why that they're so afraid of him is that they know he has a connection. If you're a congressman, a senator, he has a connection with my voters that I do not have.
Nope. He will beat you.
I do not have that connection.
He will primary you, and more often than not, you will lose.
You know,
and that's, if all you're about is keeping power, that's all you need to be kept in check.
This is exactly what I've been saying for months. No one on the left can go head-to-head with Trump. Not Kamala Harris, not Gavin Newsom, and certainly not Tim Walz. Let's be clear, this isn't about saying Trump is flawless. He's not, but at least he brings common sense back to the table. He's a grounded, unapologetic force, and he represents the kind of leadership America desperately needs. What we don't need is another weak, packaged politician who stumbles through speeches, follows scripts written by consultants, and relies on handlers to do their thinking. America needs a real leader, not a figurehead. We've already seen where the puppet show politics lead: division, dysfunction, and national decline. It's time we expect more.
Trump really is one of the most effective politicians, whatever you think of the policy and him as a person. Just as a politician, just understanding that always lean in to being more who you are. The people are not savvy about issues, but they smell a phony a mile away. And that kind of shit, nobody else does it. You know, there's a couple of times when, I've been his biggest critic for good reason. And when he got reelected, I said, I'm not going to pre-hate anything. And then the first week I said, well, there's lots of things I hate because I do. Okay, there's some things I don't hate also, but the way he can do that and sometimes kind of make me go, oh man, I gotta give it up.
Let's face it, many Americans couldn't stomach the direction this country was heading. It felt like watching a runaway car skid straight into chaos. No brakes, no accountability. Just crash after crash. We were sick of the so-called progress that let men compete in women's sports, silenced dissent, and treated patriotism like a punchline. What was once called truth was now hate speech. Faith, family, and freedom, the bedrock of this nation, were being mocked. People felt trapped, voiceless, and desperate for someone to cut through the noise. And the only person willing to stand up and name the madness: Trump. But now listen to the most surprising part: how Bill Maher explained Trump's power.
I was very mad at the Democrats when they lost because I said, my two big issues are democracy and the environment, and now I don't have a champion for either. So you lost, and that's what you gave me. So don't be mad at me for calling you losers, loser assholes who fucked this election up.
Trump's influence isn't about media hype or elite endorsements, it's about his connection with regular Americans. He doesn't speak at them, he speaks to them. He hears their frustration, their hopes, and their desire for a country that makes sense again. Unlike his opponents who scold and impose, Trump listens. He doesn't belittle people as deplorables or write them off, he gives them a voice. While the political elite preach obedience to their narratives, Trump does the opposite. That's why his supporters don't just follow him, they trust him. And Bill Maher, he's finally starting to see that too.
Well, the whole thing is about this state is just so fucked with over taxes and over regulation.
Sure.
I mean, I last time he was on, I was, kidding him about the fact that I took 3 years to get my solar power turned on. Now I just had my roof redone because of the fires, because now I want a fireproof roof. 2 inspections, and you have to pay for those inspections, They're not free. And I asked this on the show last week. I see it got picked up by a lot of people. Why do I have to have inspectors looking at my roof? It's my roof. If it falls on my head, that's my problem. I don't need the government looking over my shoulder here. And this is why we can't get anything done in this state. The government is just too in our fucking business. And he was on last January, and I asked him about this and the red tape, and he had a big answer about, well, we're blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm going to find out what the exact blah, 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 blah was, and see now that it's a year and 3 months later, what's been done.
Maher said it himself. Trump is the most effective politician of our time. Like him or not, that's the truth. He's a political juggernaut, the most powerful weapon the Republicans have ever wielded, and the left knows it. That's why they smear him, fear him, and try to silence him, because they still don't know how to beat him at the one place that matters, with the people. Trump's election victory wasn't just a win, it was a wake-up call, a message. He didn't squeak by, he dominated. That kind of landslide only happens when someone truly understands the people. Maher sees it. Trump reset the definition of political success, and every candidate since is still being measured against him.
Let me ask you this, last question. You're going to meet with the president.
I am?
So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way, and I love it.
I get it. Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as
a dare.
not a dare. No, just like, maybe this is a beginning to heal America. No, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't. Okay, let's get that clear. I'm not going to be healing America. But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credential. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town.
And Maher didn't stop at praising Trump, he ripped into the Democrats too. He said it, they were the architects of their own downfall. After taking office, they had the power and the platform to make real change. But instead, they pushed reckless policies, ignored opposing views, and alienated millions of Americans. A party that claims to stand for democracy shouldn't be censoring speech, canceling dissent, or forcing narratives. That's not democracy, that's authoritarianism in disguise. And don't even get me started on the climate spending. Billions wasted, nothing fixed, just higher taxes and more red tape. Then there's Kamala Harris, whose handling of the border crisis was an outright disaster. If that's the best the Democrats have to offer, no wonder Americans are tuning out.
And I've also lost a lot of fans for that. The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility. So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a couple of people who I said to them, you know, I'm just going to take it as a backhanded compliment that you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from the suburb, was invited for a private dinner to the White House. You glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot.
Here's what really shocked me. Maher actually called out Gavin Newsom. That almost never happens. I remember watching his interview with Newsom, all fluff, no challenge. Newsom gave his usual polished, hollow answers, and Maher just nodded along. But not anymore. This time, Maher didn't let it slide. That's big. Because when someone like Bill Maher, a longtime liberal, starts calling out the left's poster boy, it signals something deeper, disillusionment, not just among conservatives, but among liberals too. When comedians start calling out the absurdity, the game is up. People are waking up.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied. Biden is toast. The walls will keep crumbling, and my pick in the office pool for when he gives it up is August 9th.
the 50th anniversary of when Nixon did.
Man doesn't toe the line. Yes, he's criticized Trump endlessly, but he hasn't been completely consumed by the woke groupthink that's hijacked the left. Maher still tries to think critically. He challenges narratives. He questions power, even when it's his side. That's rare. And now, for the first time in his life, Maher was invited to the White House not by Biden, not by Obama, but by Trump. Let that sink in. Trump doesn't see Maher as an enemy. He sees him as something even more valuable, an honest voice. And in today's political climate, that's a rare ally indeed.
He's super old, and there's nothing wrong with being old. There's no shame to it. I'm old, but but there's natural processes that happen, and it seems like he is certainly losing his acuity, which a lot of older men do, and compensating it with this wonderful ability to get people to work together. But I would say I don't think we need to get a panel of gerontologists to look at the situation. We've all known old people who are like, yeah, we'll take the keys now.
I'm so disappointed that you, like me, not so young, would say this. It's such bullshit. First of all, the same week that he did this, Kamala Harris was over in Korea saying our longtime ally North.
Maher's response to that White House invitation: grateful, genuine, humble. When was the last time you heard a liberal public figure thank a Republican president sincerely for anything? It doesn't happen. That's part of what sets Maher apart. He hasn't switched sides, he's just brave enough to question his own. And in doing so, he's gaining the respect of conservatives and independents alike. People are tired of echo chambers. Maher thinks for himself, and people are noticing.
I mean, and then he gets his ass on a plane. It can't be easy. He's not, what? He's not a young man. He remembers when the Dead Sea was alive. He told the Wailing Wall to keep it down. No, he's not a young.
Maher has no problem criticizing leaders he once supported, and that's the difference. He doesn't hide behind party loyalty. Take Biden, for example. While the media twisted itself into knots trying to convince us the president was sharp and vigorous, Maher saw through it. He openly said what everyone else was too afraid to admit. Biden no longer seems fit to lead. The stumbles, the gaffes, the glazed stares, Maher didn't ignore it. He confronted it. That kind of honesty is rare. And that's why people even on the right are starting to listen.
Should Kamala Harris run for California governor in 2026 after polls show her leading? I'm going to give that a big no.
She's had her chance several times.
She should run far, far away.
I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university.
Oh, so now it's okay to say Biden isn't mentally sharp? Interesting, because not long ago, anyone who dared say that was called a conspiracy theorist, an extremist, or worse. The left ruthlessly mocked people who simply pointed out what was obvious. Biden wasn't fit for the job. Now suddenly, it's just old age. Please, the hypocrisy is staggering. You don't get to gaslight half the country and then walk it back when it's politically convenient. People are waking up and they're done playing along.
Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers.